A growing conversation is taking place across the UK about how local councils could expand access to convenient parking for older residents, particularly those who have mobility challenges but do not currently qualify for a blue badge. Recent comments from the UK government have sparked new interest in how flexible local parking rules can be and how councils already hold wider powers than many people realise. At the centre of this discussion is the possibility of allowing state pensioners with mobility issues who may not receive the mobility component of PIP or DLA to benefit from designated parking spaces in the same way that existing blue badge holders can. For many older people, especially those who find long walks tiring or difficult, even a small improvement in access can make a noticeable difference to daily life, whether they are visiting shops, attending appointments, or simply staying connected to the community. This matter was raised in Parliament when Labour MP Sojourn Joseph sought clarification on whether the government could assess the potential benefits of widening eligibility for disabled parking bays to include people of state pension age with mobility limitations who do not qualify for a higher rate disability benefit. Many older adults fall into this space. They may not meet the official threshold for a blue badge, yet still face genuine challenges getting around. This question opened an opportunity to explore what councils can already do, and what local flexibility might look like if communities pushed for more accessible options. In response, Local Transport Minister Simon Lightwood explained that existing legislation gives local authorities significant freedom. Under Part 4 of the Road Traffic Regulation Act 1984, councils can create parking bays for specific purposes, issue local permits, and set their own rules through traffic regulation orders. This means that councils can, if they choose, introduce dedicated bays for groups such as local pensioners who do not qualify for national schemes. The minister noted that such arrangements can be entirely voluntary and handled locally, with decisions on cost, criteria, and how concessions operate left to each council. In other words, if a community believes that supporting older residents with more accessible parking is a priority, a council already has the tools to act on that view. For many people in the UK, the Blue Badge scheme remains a crucial support for those who struggle with mobility. Individuals with physical disabilities, long-term conditions that make walking unsafe or difficult, or invisible conditions such as dementia or Parkinson's, may qualify for a badge that helps them park closer to essential services. A blue badge allows holders, whether they drive or travel as passengers, to park in designated disabled bays and often offers flexibility with certain local parking restrictions. It is estimated that around 3.2 million people across the UK currently benefit from this scheme, making it a key part of everyday life for many households and a vital resource for maintaining independence. However, recent government investigations have also revealed challenges connected to outdated or misused blue badges. A major review last autumn led to the cancellation of tens of thousands of badges that were still active despite the original holders having passed away. While many of these cases were simply the result of administrative delays or unreturned badges, some were found to be exploited in ways that took advantage of the system. The issue raised awareness of the importance of keeping records up to date and reminded the public how valuable these permits are for people who genuinely rely on them. Cabinet Office Minister Josh Simons expressed his surprise at the discovery that some cancelled badges had found their way into unauthorised use. He described the blue badge as a familiar symbol that most people instinctively respect in everyday settings, from supermarket car parks to busy town centres. That reputation makes the scheme particularly important to protect. He shared that 22,000 outdated or invalid badges had now been cancelled after the review, noting that each badge could, in theory, represent a considerable amount in saved parking or congestion fees if misused, highlighting why keeping the system accurate matters. In one example, a local authority reported that relatives of a former badge holder had attempted to request replacement badges by claiming the original had been damaged. While not every case involved an attempt to misuse the badge, and while many cancellations were purely administrative, the investigation helped reveal how varied local processes had been. The Cabinet Office emphasised that each council maintains its own records, which means protective measures can differ widely across the UK. Improved data matching tools, however, are helping authorities identify irregularities more quickly and ensure that the system remains fair and reliable. This Blue Badge review forms part of a wider national effort to reduce fraud across public services. Over the past year, the government has recovered £480 million that would otherwise have been lost, an increase of £100 million compared to the previous year. Of that total, £186 million came from tackling fraudulent COVID-era loan schemes such as improperly claimed bounce-back loans. These recoveries have been credited to the use of modern data analysis, automation, and AI tools that can highlight unusual patterns before problems grow larger. Josh Simons noted that many long-standing system errors had gone unaddressed for years. Payments continuing after someone's passing, outdated entries on housing lists, and improperly claimed council tax discounts were all examples of issues that, while individually small, can add up to significant amounts of public money. He emphasized that correcting these errors helps ensure taxpayers' money is directed where it is most needed, such as supporting hospitals, schools, policing, and community services. He expressed pride in the scale of the recent improvements, describing the financial recovery as a meaningful investment back into essential public services. He also reaffirmed the government's commitment to continuing to use advanced technology to identify problems early, strengthen systems, and ensure public resources are managed responsibly. Against this backdrop of tightening data systems and renewed focus on community accessibility, the conversation about pensioner-friendly parking has gained momentum. With councils already holding the authority to establish specialized parking bays, local campaigns or consultations could play a greater role in shaping how accessible town centers become for older residents. Communities might consider how such parking options could support local independence for pensioners, reduce unnecessary strain for those with mobility challenges, or encourage more inclusive participation in high streets and local events. The idea of dedicated pensioner parking spaces does not replace or change the Blue Badge scheme itself, which remains focused on disability-related mobility needs. Instead, it highlights the flexibility councils possess to respond to the needs of their specific populations. In areas with large older communities, hilly terrain, or limited public transport, creating additional accessible parking could be particularly helpful. And because decisions are made locally, residents can play an active role by engaging with their council, sharing their experiences, and helping shape policies that reflect the realities of everyday life. While not every council may choose to introduce dedicated pensioner parking bays, the recognition of this possibility underscores the importance of conversation between local authorities and residents. It also invites more people to learn about existing parking concessions, local transport options, and the criteria for the Blue Badge scheme itself. As the UK continues to review and modernize various public systems, the emphasis remains on fairness, accessibility, and ensuring that support reaches the people who need it most. This growing awareness may encourage councils to explore new solutions, strengthen existing systems, and make simple but meaningful changes that help older adults stay active, connected, and included in the heart of their communities.